program brought to you compliments Dominica Social Security. And we will be looking at employer obligations and compliance. Very interesting discussion. But of course, if there's a comment you want to make or something you want to raise about as it relates to DSS, we'll welcome your contribution. So whilst we have a set topic, we'll also look at other areas as it relates to the Dominica Social Security. So let's talk Social Security, employer obligations and compliance. Let me go to Studio 2, the Felix Anderson studio, and let me welcome the guest in studio, Augustus Etienne, the Lone Ranger from the DSS today. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Ivona. Good morning to your listeners, and good morning to my staff at Social Security. I want to send special greetings to Mrs. Lloyd, who is not well at the moment. Wishing her a speedy recovery. She would normally be here with me in studio at this time.
Oh, okay. So I just thought that there was another major event that's taking place for the DSS, and that you had to delegate staff to various areas, and you all alone are on.
Yeah.
All right.
So that happens as well. Some other people could possibly be here.
Yes.
Otherwise, so yes.
All right, but it's all good. I mean, you have been at the DSS for so long. I mean, I'm not sure if you sleep, eat, breathe Social Security, but you surely talk a lot about Social Security.
I don't necessarily eat and sleep it, but people make me. People almost force me to, because anywhere, anytime, they ask questions about Social Security.
Can just imagine you walking, at an event and your phone is ringing.
I'm in church, they're coming at my home.
Yes,
it happens.
Yes.
Yeah. It's all.
That's the nature of the job, though.
Indeed.
There are certain jobs that you do that people will always be calling you. I mean, you mentioned church, and I have my days as well, in church. But yeah, it's all good. I mean, when you're at an establishment and at an institution for a number of years, it becomes part of you. So yes.
Indeed.
All right. So what is happening lately at the DSS? I know we have a set topic, but just tell us lately in terms of any major news,
Well, the main thing that we exist to do, and we continue to take pride in doing that, is the payment of people's benefits, especially benefits to our pensioners, those who would have made their contributions over the years and are now in their twilight years, that they're enjoying the fruits of their labor. As you know, we're celebrating our 50th anniversary this year. 1st of February 2026 marked 50 years since the establishment of Dominica Social Security. And we've had a number of activities, and we have a few activities still to come that the public will be informed of in due course. We're going to have a major event in September, sometime in September, during the month of the elderly, to show appreciation to our aged pensioners. That is the people who have worked and are retired and are receiving their pensions now. Those who are able to come, we're going to bring them together at a central location for interaction.
I was about to ask, how do you celebrate pensioners in particular?
Yes.
A lot of them contributed immensely, to the institution.
They were the pioneers of the system, and then they've made their contributions.
How do you say thank you?
Yes. So the main thank you we have to say is the payment of their benefits on a consistent, regular basis. That is something that they enjoy, and they tell you without fear of contradiction that this is the best thing that ever happened. Yes, I could do it for a little more, but as anything else, it is dependable, it's regular, it's consistent, you can count on it. So that is the main thing that we owe them, really, but we recognize that given that they've made their contributions in the past, we have to recognize their contribution, and so we bring them together. And sometime in September, we'll give more details closer to the time, where they can, some of them may not have seen each other for a while, because, when they become pensionable, they don't move about as much.
That's true.
And we have thousands of those out there, but many of them may not be able to move about. Those who are mobile might come, but it's something that we're looking forward to. It's something that we haven't had for the last time I think we had was 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And another major thing we'll be doing in October, we'll be hosting a regional conference of Social Security heads. And we're expecting to put our best foot forward, and we will need the support of Dominicans to make that a memorable event for our guests that we have coming from across CARICOM.
Oh, wow. So different countries will be converging in Dominica.
And it's a meeting that's held every year among the heads of social security. And most countries host when they are observing a milestone anniversary. So it is little wonder that because we're celebrating 50 years, it's our turn to host now.
Of course, 50 years is, no little feat. 50 years is a major accomplishment. To survive to 50 and you continue to look beyond, that already is an achievement for the DSS.
Yes.
What about the certificate of life form, though?
Most of the people would have done that by now.
Okay.
But there are still some people who have not done so, and their benefits would have been suspended. And invariably, once they realize that the benefit had not been paid, as if I haven't gotten paid for the last so many fortnights or the last couple of months, they probably will call to find out, and then they realize they had not done it. Because I guess the time goes by so quickly. They did it last and they think they did it, and when you check the records, it hasn't been done for this year.
Yeah.
So, but the fact that the deadline passed long ago doesn't mean that they mustn't do it. They still need to do it because
and it ensures continued eligibility.
Yes,
right?
because we need to know that they are alive. It's just that when we do not hear from them by the deadline date, rather than continue paying them, not knowing what is their situation, what's their circumstances, it is safer to suspend, and when you hear from them, resume. Because you might be paying money to somebody who is dead, and another person might be accessing the monies and that kind of thing.
I mean,
and the system. Whereas it must pay benefits to people who are eligible, it ought not to pay benefits when it is not due. So somebody should not be drawing the benefit when it should not be paid because the recipient or the owner of the benefit has passed and we are not aware of it. And some people say, but I mean, you saw me and whatever, because people can die at any moment.
Oh yeah.
People die at any moment. So yeah.
And we're not only talking about pensioners in Dominica, but overseas pensioners as well.
All those universities have a pension from DSS, yes. And it's not something that DSS or does. All people that pay pensions require that verification, proof of life, periodically. Some places more often than once a year. We can demand it more than once a year, but it's very tedious administering it. But especially for people who reside overseas, most systems require them to do it at least twice a year. Some people quarterly, some places quarterly.
Quarterly, yeah. And of course, there are benefits. Yeah. But the DSS speaks about, yes, you make a contribution, but there are benefits
yes, of course,
in every aspect.
And the contributions you are making are to give you access to a range of benefits at some future date when specific events happen to you.
I find myself looking at the calendar very often these days, and of course I see the highlights, like sometimes in yellow and in green, and
the dates of the pension payments. Yes,
I know a lot of people.
That's the pensioner's Bible.
Yes, I was just about to say that.
That's the Bible.
Like they look at it every day.
Yes,
and they can.
And when they go to the financial institutions and they say the money not there, they say
yes. So that's a guide. That's
a guide, and they can defend us because they know the benefit comes in a timely fashion. Sometimes there might be a little delay in the institution probably crediting their account to the monies. But we pay those monies in advance. So.
What I like about this as well is, yes, you continue to embrace technology and its advancements, but you still understand the premise upon which the DSS was built. So you still cater for these people. I really enjoy this. I really
although technology has its part, we're very big on the human touch. You cannot. It's not everybody that will necessarily be, au fair or au courant with the technology, and you have to be able to cater for them as well.
Has there ever been like a pensioners day? Do you set aside, apart from what is coming up, I think in October you mentioned, do you set aside like every year?
No, it's a costly venture because you have to entertain
and sometimes
them.
you have to go outside of Dominica, not outside
of
Roseau. Yes.
It's a costly venture. No, it's something we first introduced at maybe 1991, maybe on the 15th anniversary of the institution or something like that. And we try to do it on milestone anniversaries, but not every milestone. But this one, we cannot let it pass by without having one.
Have you looked at the demographics as well, though, in terms of pensioners and as it relates to male or female? Have you ever conducted?
I haven't looked at the statistics for a while, but I think we have more female pensioners.
Okay, so that's where I was heading.
And I think generally the women outlive the men. So, but we have increasingly more and more for pensioners surpassing 1995.
Wow.
And once they qualify at the material time, the system has to continue paying them their pensions for the rest of their lives, however long that is.
All right. Well, that's good.
Yes,
That's good
yes.
to know. You say the women. There's more women than men from what you know generally.
Yes, yes.
Do you find like more of the women though, and we can look at pensioners and everybody in general. Do you find more of the women maybe ask questions or want answers to certain things? They call all the time and they come to the office. Do you see that happening? Or
The women probably take a more keen interest in that than the men, but you still have some men who make it a point of duty to ensure that they are in good standing with the system, and they will check from time to time, especially those that involve maybe in construction and they have concerns. Some of them they don't bother, but those who are concerned, they will harass the office every so often because they work with a contractor and they want to make sure their contributions are paid.
If I were to gauge in terms of the contribution of this very program that you have had for a number of years, would you say that maybe a lot of people come forward for more information based on that program? They may have heard something. They may even have heard an announcement on DBS Radio.
Oh yes, they do, and they tell, and they always say, "But listen to your program every so often. I hear you. Sometimes I want to call, but I don't have the time. But very useful information."
All right. Okay. So yes, we took some time just to talk about other things relating to DSS.
Yes.
Apart from the topic that we have at hand. So let's hear King Dice, and then we will start with the subject that we have at hand. Stay tuned.
Secure yourself, secure your family. Register with Social Security. Make sure your employers pay, cause some of them do melee. Make sure they pay your Social Security. Secure your age pension when you're old. Invalidity pension when health has left you cold. Survivor's pension, secure for your spouse and your children. Life and health are both unpredictable. Don't take risks, you can't afford to gamble. Secure yourself with Social Security. I said that. Social Security, it good,
Tell you, it's good, that encapsulates, the importance of contributions and how it will redound to your benefits. So secure yourself with this Social Security. Augustus Etienne, yes, right?
Yes.
It just puts it in perspective. The right words there in that jingle.
Indeed.
Secure yourself. Secure your family. Register with Social Security. All right.
Okay, registration is not sufficient.
Well, yes, that's the first step. That's the first step. Yes.
And then after having registered, the payment of the contribution.
Because you can register, but that doesn't mean you secure yourself.
Exactly.
You can just register and just leave it like that.
Yep.
There's a lot more.
And we've seen a need for us to continue to increase to encourage persons, especially self-employed persons and persons who are informally employed, to make sure they don't just register but pay, because so that they can have a guaranteed benefit in the future.
Because years after, you'll find somebody coming and say, "But I registered.
But look, I have a card. Look, I have a card.
Look, my card. I registered.
Look at my card," and they're using the card. They're flashing it to do transactions.
Right.
And then at the end of it, they have little or nothing in the system to access a benefit. Wow. And that is sad. That is really sad. Because in Dominica, we do not issue Social Security numbers, Social Security cards to persons because they are Dominicans or when they're born, like in some other jurisdictions. You acquire a Social Security number, Social Security card, when you become engaging in trouble employment. So you have to start working before you can register and get a Social Security card. Once you register, you have a card, you have a number. That stays with you for the rest of your life. But the possession of the card by itself does not guarantee you a benefit, because the system is a contributory one. It is the payment of contributions or the accumulation of those contributions over time that gives people's right or access to the various benefits upon the occurrence of specific events. So
I tell you, I would hate to believe that some people register primarily to be able to use the card.
Some people do, and especially nowadays, the financial institutions are requiring that as the main form of ID.
Yes.
For I think the intention was for when they're seeking credit. But some institutions are requiring it when they want to open an account.
Yes.
And with the electoral confirmation process, the fact that the Social Security form is a valid form of ID, people are coming to request that and even making a fuss And we want to impress upon people that, and we told the financial institutions, we want the electoral process to understand that as well. It's not every Dominican will possess a social security card. If you had one in the past, you were registered at some point, you have one. I guess it will be accepted as a valid form of ID when you're using it other places. If you never had one, you never worked, and you do not intend to pay contributions, you should not come and get the card, because they will come and tell you, I'm self-employed, to be able to get the card, and you don't see them or hear from them ever after. Some people have done that over the years and they've not made their contributions, and now they come in to ask for a replacement card, a renewal of their cards. And some people are saying, why are we not giving them a renewed card? Because they have a card already. So when we try to do what we do, because we're trying to protect those persons, when we insist that they pay those contributions, to be able to give them access to a benefit at the end of the day, a benefit in their own right, because they would have made the contributions, and by virtue of those contributions, they will be able to have access to benefits. If you haven't got the contribution, and then when they come to get the card, that's the time you have a captive audience. Then you can talk to them and try to get them, encourage them to pay, and try to impress upon them the importance of paying. But some of them, they cannot see the future. They just figure, I just need the card because the bank send me and get it, or Western Union send me and get it. And they ask them, do you have a social security card? Because that is a valid form of ID for them. So because they ask you that question, it doesn't mean you automatically can get one, because if you haven't got one to begin with, you cannot just come and ask for one, because it's not a card that we just given because you asked for it.
Yes.
Okay? So we want people to understand that, and it creates a little thing for people sometimes when they are told, we cannot just give you a card like that if you haven't got, if you did not have one, and you're not. It's
not simply to say I have a social security card.
No, it's not an ID.
Or I have a pretty wallet or a pretty purse, so I can stick.
The fact that it is acceptable as a valid form of ID doesn't mean we just give you an ID.
It doesn't rest there.
And at the end of the day, you need 50 contributions to get a funeral grant, or for a funeral grant to be paid on your behalf. And some people don't even have that. They've had the card for many, many years, and they have not made 50 contributions to the system after having had the card for many, many years. So tomorrow they may not even be able to access a benefit.
Wow.
So having the card by itself, yes, it indicates you are registered. You registered at some point. But whether you can get benefits with the card is dependent on how many contributions you will have paid. And really and truly, you are required to pay contributions when you are earning. So if you are not working for the time being, you're not expected, because what you're contributing on. But the self-employed persons who come forward and are responsible for paying for themselves, when they come and register, they have a responsibility to ensure they pay those contributions. You and I are employees of organizations, institutions. The organizations are our employers. They are responsible under the law to deduct from our pay when they pay us and pay it on our behalf. But those of us who work for ourselves, the responsibility is ours to make sure we do it.
But could it be that some people are just not aware, especially maybe the younger people who are coming for the cards?
That might be a factor, but I think
you
we're
have
speaking
information online and all of that.
Yes, some people may be that because of lack of information. Some couldn't be bothered. Some of them, this 65-year business where I have to wait to get a pension is so remote that I'm not sure if I'll live to see it. But the truth is, you're not just paying contributions for an age pension at 65. You're paying contributions so that you can get income replacement whenever your income is disrupted by certain factors that we cover. So it's a matter of understanding and appreciating that the benefits available to you throughout your life. Yes, you might enjoy the bulk of it after you retire at 65. But while you are here, and also while you're working, if you fall sick, you had a major surgery, you had an accident, and you cannot work for a while. If you admit those contributions, you get part of your income replaced for the period you cannot work. So it's a matter of understanding all of the benefits that's available. And a lot of people don't know. They just know they're paying their contributions. Their contributions are being deducted from their salary. And they're not even aware. They cannot even appreciate why those contributions are being paid. And that is why we take advantage of any opportunity to try to explain to people the purpose of Social Security, so they can see the merit in it and voluntarily, willingly participate, comply to ensure that they secure themselves and their loved ones. Oh,
well said there. Well said. Yeah. The Dominica Social Security always ensuring that they provide the information. So apart from it being on the internet, and you can get more information there, apart from their Facebook page and all of that.
Yes.
And even apart from going in and speaking to someone or calling by the telephone, they always ensure as well
Yeah.
that they use radio as one of the mediums. You know, to
And we
transform
go to
information.
communities, we go to establishments when we get invited to speak to people, because we recognize that the better informed our people are, the better our work is going to be. It's going to be easier for us to fulfill our mandate. And then we might eventually see increased coverage, we might see increased compliance. So the education is never too much.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
we continue to take advantage of opportunities to do.
All right. Secure yourself, secure your family. You may be thinking that I'm young now. I don't really need this. I'm young.
Yes,
You know? But let me tell you something. The years go by so quickly, and then you realize,
Yes,
but just
indeed.
now, but I need this. You
Yeah.
know, I have a child or children.
Yep.
What am I doing to secure myself and to secure my family? So, right. So that is important. Get the information if you're not sure. Get clarification.
Yes,
Seek
and
clarification.
get it from the source.
And the source, that's it.
Get
that's
it from the
because a friend might
source.
tell you, no, girl, you don't need
Get
that.
it
you
from the
you don't need that to
source.
flash. You don't need to do anything with that
Yeah.
until maybe you get older.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can start to control. No.
Get it from the source.
Yeah, get it from the source. I like that. All right. So that is important. All
Yes,
right.
yes.
Okay. So we can go to the discussion now. The matter at hand.
Yes, indeed.
But what we have been talking about is very
Oh
important.
yes,
as well.
certainly,
So-
certainly.
Yes,
certainly.
the issue of social security is very important.
Yeah.
No matter what area you look at, it's always important. It's good to know what is happening. I mean, even as we speak, I mean, just recently there was a program on the student loan.
Yes.
That too is very, very
Yes,
important.
and we're in the season of people looking for educational opportunities
That
and
is it.
financing. So
And when you get student loan, it doesn't only mean that you want to travel abroad,
correct.
you know, or your daughter or your son wants to travel abroad, so you should check in local palace, the Dominica Social Security.
Yes,
No.
yes.
You know, you too can be studying right here in
Right
Dominica.
here, online, with
Online.
the UE and
yes,
so on.
yes. So
yes.
take advantage of this. The DSS offers this. All right. So we're going to look at what?
Employer obligations
Yes.
and compliance. Yeah.
Well, that's a big term there. I
Yes,
have a feeling that it'll be a very interesting discussion.
Yes.
Let's just see who's on the line with us, and we'll continue. Hello. Hello.
Good morning, is that DBS Radio?
It is DBS Radio, but you're live on radio.
Okay, I want to ask a question.
Yes. Go ahead.
Because the thing is, I'm paying Social Security. My employer deducts my money every month. And last week, she's telling me that my Social Security is not up to date because the funds are low. What happens if anything happens to me now? How can I get my money from Social Security?
Your funds are low.
Your employer said the funds are low.
What exactly did you ask the employer? What does he or she mean about, the funds are low? What does that mean?
Well, I work for a private institution, and she collects money. I don't want to say where I'm working.
You should not. You should not.
You should not.
Okay?
You should
Yeah, you
not.
should not.
So because of that, she's telling me I did not pay her Social Security, although she deducted it from my money. Recently, I went to Social Security to find out if my Social Security is intact. When I went, it was.
Okay.
But now, couple months later, it's not.
Okay.
So what do I do?
Nothing.
Or what does Social Security do?
You don't need to do anything. If the employer is upfront with you and said I have financial difficulties, so I have not paid your last contributions, the employer is upfront with you. So you need not do anything necessarily. You don't have to take on your employer because your employer is honest with you. So what eventually happens is that the employer will provide us with the information that for this particular month your salary was $1,000 and this is the contributions that would have been due. The employer just have not made the requisite payment, but we have the records, and at some point the employer will make good on those payments.
Okay.
And if that doesn't happen, we give the employer time to make good, and if not, we have recourse to the courts eventually to be able to recover unpaid contributions. Because as you rightfully said, when the employer makes the deduction from your pay, it is taken from your earnings for the purpose of paying it to Social Security on your behalf. If it is not paid to Social Security as intended, it means in a sense that the employer has kind of pocketed your money. But the employer also has to match the contributions they take from your pay with their own resources, and sometimes that is a challenge for them. So the important thing is for them to ensure that they make those contributions as much as possible in a timely and consistent manner, so that they don't run up a debt that will become burdensome for them to eventually settle. So the better, the more you can pay your contributions as the months pass, keep it constant, consistent, keep it current, the better for the employer. Now, if the contributions are not paid on time, it may affect you maybe accessing a short-term benefit like if you fall sick. Because for you to qualify for sickness benefit, your contributions for the 3 months, at least 2 months prior to the month you fall sick, have to have been paid. Now, if that is an issue and you fall sick, and the employer is aware that you may not be able to get sickness benefit from us because your recent contributions have not been paid, the employer can choose to pay your full salary, and the benefit that you will be entitled to from the system can be eventually refunded to the employer once the contributions are paid. Under the law, we could also require the employer to pay the benefit or the unpaid contributions, whichever is higher, and the benefit is always higher because we're paying it at a higher rate than the rate at which the contributions are coming in. So you do not need to do anything necessarily to confront your employer. If you check with Social Security and they tell you, well, your contributions for the last couple of months have not been paid, if we are aware, we can take steps to, because you make the inquiry and we check, we can make a note and our field officers can, in fact, check with the employer to see why your contributions are not paid and monitor them to ensure that they are eventually paid. Okay, so the regular check-in with the office is a good practice that you can be aware where you stand at any given point in time. But you are not required to challenge or take on your employer because you find out that they have not paid your contributions. Okay?
Thank you very much.
All right.
You're welcome.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yes.
That's interesting. But passing on the information is important. I'm getting this from. So it's one thing for the employer, maybe in a bind in terms of finance.
Yes.
But you have to discuss certain things, so somebody can know in terms of the way forward. And there are certain things that the DSS would need to know as well.
Yes, certainly. So for the most part, when somebody makes an inquiry, either they come in person or they call over the phone. If we find out when we check the system that particular employer has not been paying, we ought to take a note and refer it to our compliance department. Our compliance department is that department that the law mandates to be able to go out there and to approach and to call in upon any premises where even they have a suspicion that some employment activity is taking place, and to conduct investigations there, to ask questions, to ask them for wage information, who working there, anybody working there, how many people are working, and things like that. So if we fail to probably make a note and refer it to compliance, maybe nothing might come out of the person's inquiry, but generally once the person makes the inquiry and you find that out, you make a note and you refer it to compliance, because we tell people that we will follow up to ensure that we eventually recover those contributions.
Very interesting. And one of the things of if we have to even look even before that stage, one of the things that is very important is that the employer must ensure that every person is his employee is duly registered,
correct.
and produces his social security card to the employer.
Under the law, it says within 4 days of starting to work, an employee has to get registered.
Within 4 days?
Within 4 days of starting to work, the employee should get registered. The employer has to register within 7 days of taking their first employee. Now, for the employer to pay contributions, they must first register themselves as an employer for the purpose of making deductions and paying contributions. But who is an employer under the law? The Social Security regulations define an employer as a person, natural or legal, who engages another person in insurable employment. A natural person, you and I. A legal person, a company, a corporation who has legal identity. In law, the corporation is a person in law. So you can be a natural person, me, you. You can be a legal entity, a corporation, a business. Or you can also operate under a business name. So the entity, the business name, is the employer. You, the owner of that business, would be, the employer, and you would be self-employed if your business is not a registered company. So you have certain obligations that you must register yourself, your business, or the corporation itself as an employer for the purposes of deducting and paying contributions. And such registration has to be done within 7 days of taking up your first employee.
So let me ask you, does the continued employment or the continued engagement of an unregistered employee that constitutes an offense.
Yes, indeed.
That's
yes,
what you're
indeed.
telling us essentially.
Yeah, so that if the person, okay, a person can come to work with you after having worked several places before. They're registered in the system for many years. They have a number already. When they start working, all they have to do is to provide you with your social security number so that you can enter it on your wage records. And every fortnight, every month, every week, every fortnight, every month, you pay them.
Because that person was previously registered.
Right. But the person who is just coming out of college, out of school, and starting their first job, within 4 days of starting to work, they should get registered. So if they come to you and they do not produce a social security number to you, by the first day, by the second day, by the fourth day, you have to ask them, do you have a social security card, a social security number?
Yeah.
If not, they even have to allow them time to go and get registered. And once they obtain that number, they provide that to their employer. And the employer is required to ensure that every person who they so engaged is so registered. And for every month that employer engages and pays that person's salaries and wages, they're supposed to deduct and pay for as long as they engage people. Registration is a one-time thing, but the payment of contributions is a continuous thing as long as you continue to earn. The contributions have to be paid.
So as you alluded to earlier, it's important that the employer keeps like business records of the start date of employment for each employee.
Each employee
and their full name and correctly spelled and all of that.
And especially importantly the social security number. Because when they register and we assign them that number, it's a unique number that we can identify them anytime, anywhere, once they code the correct number to us. So it's important that the employers record the correct social security number for each person. Even if they don't give us the name, once they give us the correct social security number, I input the number on my system, the person's information will pop up. If they make a mistake with one of the characters in the number, I might have difficulty getting the person. People have different names.
Or the same name but it's spelled differently.
Yes, so and we have some surnames like your maiden name John Baptist.
J-N-O or J-O-H-N.
J-O-H-N or J, all kind of things.
Yeah. That's
so when you can call, Ivan John Baptist. I don't know which form of John Baptist you have.
Yes.
And I'm searching. But if you give me your social security number off the bat, once I put that in, the number that we gave you, not when you make up, the number we gave you, once I put it in, everything about Ivan John Baptist Luge will come up.
You said not one we make up.
No, some people, after a while they realize how the number is configured. When they look at the characters in the number, they realize how it's configured. And sometimes they make up numbers and it creates a problem.
Wow. Let's go to the telephone and get back to that. Hi, good morning. Welcome to the discussion. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. I have a concern.
Go ahead.
The captains of the boats in Dominica are they paying social security for the men that are working on the boats?
Which boats are you talking about?
In Dominica, those that operate in Dominica.
What kind of boats are you talking about?
The cargo vessels that go to and from every week to Guadeloupe, St. Martin, Antigua, these places there.
Well, the agents for those vessels are supposed to be paying for their workers. Yes.
Okay.
People that working on cruise ships and so on, they that's a different situation. But if you have those cargo vessels that go from here to St. Martin, Guadeloupe, St. Lucia, wherever, and they have an agent in Dominica, the agent's supposed to be paying for their workers. Yes. People who work on cruise ships, the cruise ships do not have. Although the cruise ships are registered in a particular jurisdiction, it's like the Dominicans working on those cruise ships, they have to pay voluntary contributions because they haven't got an employer that is domiciled in a particular area.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not sure if he's satisfied in terms of the information, but that's the direct answer. So if there's anything, probably he don't want maybe clarification on.
Yeah, he can call the office.
He can
directly.
call, yes, because obviously we don't want to call.
We're not dealing with specifics. We're speaking in general.
General. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So always remember that there may be a situation that you want clarification on.
Yes.
You want to explain, but sometimes the radio is not really the avenue for
yes.
this.
So they need to call
if
the
you have
office.
a general question, yes. But when it relates to something specific, know, you have to call the office.
Yes,
obviously,
indeed.
right? So we're looking at the obligations of the employers,
Mm-hmm.
and we spoke about the importance of the Social Security card,
Yes.
and the fact that the employer has to deduct a percentage, you know,
Yes.
every month
Yes.
at a certain date. Is it at a certain date?
As they
it-
pay because
Okay,
people
it-
pay
yeah.
at different
Right.
times.
I was
Sometimes
just
they pay
about to say
weekly,
yes.
they pay fortnightly, they pay monthly. But for every pay period, you have to deduct a percentage from whatever you're paying for that pay period. So you're paying every week. You deduct this week from the 500 you
Yeah.
pay for this week. Next week you pay 700. You deduct from the 700, and at the end of the month you add the two amounts, and the total you pay a total on the total of $1,200 for that month. So for every pay period, you have to make the deduction. For employers, this year the employee rate, you deduct 6.75% of the employee's salary, and the employer matches that with 8%. 8%. Most employers pay 8%. Just a few employers pay 7.75% of the employee's salary, up to $7,000 a month. So among the employer's obligations is the need for they themselves to register, and for them to be registered, it depends on the nature of the type of business that the employer, or the form of business that the employer is operating under. So if the employer is a registered company, they have to produce for their registration the certificate of incorporation that they would receive from the company registry. They would have to provide the articles of association, which is a legal document that they draw up to say that they are incorporating the business, that these are the persons who are going to be the directors, this is what business they're involved in, and so on and so on. They have to provide us with the notice of directors, as well as the notice of registered office in terms of where they're going to be operating from, so that if we have to follow up with them, if we have to check with them, we have the names of the persons that we have to contact, as well as where they can be contacted. If the employer is operating under a business name, when they're applying for registration, they have to give us documents that indicate the name of the business, the general nature of the business that they're engaged in, the principal place of the business where they're operating from, again to facilitate communication, contact with them if we need to, and the name or the names of the person or persons who will be carrying on that business. When the business is operating under a business name, the owner of the business is the employer, because you are working for yourself in your own business. You are self-employed, and you are required to pay contributions for your own self on your own behalf, while you're supposed to pay contributions for the employees you engage to work in your establishment. If you're operating as a company where you register the company is its own person with the ability to sue and be sued in its own name. That company can be your employer if you work in that company. Okay, so you can have a business that is registered under business name. You as the owner are self-employed. You have to pay for yourself, and you have to pay for your workers. Because the thing is, with the business name, if the business runs into a situation where there is liability to be covered, to be met, you, the owner, are liable for the debts of the business. Whereas if the business is a company, all your liability is limited to the investment you've made. That's the most you can lose, because the legal entity, can sue and be sued in its own name.
Very important. Let's listen to King Dice again.
Secure yourself, secure your family. Register with Social Security. Make sure your employers pay, cause some of them do melee. Make sure they pay your Social Security. Secure your age pension when you're old. Invalidity pension when health has left you cold. Survivor's pension, secure for your spouse and your children. Life and health are both unpredictable. Don't take risk, you can't afford to gamble. Secure yourself with Social Security. I said that. Social Security, it good, you know.
Good, you know, and there are many examples which will help you understand why it's good. We are speaking with Augustus 810, the employer's obligations. That's what we are looking at. But if there's a question that you want to ask, or a contribution that you want to make, you can, of course, go ahead and call us on 448-3284. You could call 1-800-327 448-3281. If you're calling from overseas, you call 305-432-9744. It's already 14 minutes after 10, and we're looking at this all-important subject. Augustus Etienne is guiding us as we go along. Augustus Etienne, as it relates, because I was doing some research myself, as it relates to the benefit application form, what can you tell us about that? What the employer should know, what the employee should know in terms of, completing this form and submitting it, of course, to the DSS.
So in addition to the obligation for registration of the employer for the purpose of deducting and paying contributions and ensuring that every person that they engage to work with them is registered, after, as I said, registration is a one-time thing and they have to continue paying the contribution. So they have an obligation to make contribution payments every month on behalf of the persons that they engage to work for them. So that's a continuing obligation that you have as long as you continue to engage persons to work for you. So it's not just get them registered and then you pay the first month's contributions and you forget about it. You have to continue making the contributions in respect of every month that they work for you and you're paying them wages or salaries. Another thing that you have an obligation to do is to assist them in accessing short-term benefits when they need to. Short-term benefits being sickness when people are ill and have to abstain from work for a short period of time. Maternity when a woman is pregnant and she has to abstain work for having a child. And also employment injury benefit if you sustain an injury on the job, which makes it impossible for you to work for a period of time while you are recovering from that injury. So for these benefits, sickness, maternity, employment injury, the employer has to assist the employee in accessing that benefit by completing a certain section of that application form. So the form has 3 sections: a section for the doctor to indicate when I saw the person, what their situation is and for how long they are expected to be incapacitated. That is one section. There is a section for the employee to complete saying, my name is so and so, my social security number is so and so, I am residing at so and so, my email address is that, my telephone number is that, and I'm claiming sickness, maternity, whatever benefit for that period according to what the doctor says, and I'm either instructing you, asking you to send my benefit to that particular account number at that financial institution, or if the employer is making the payment of my salary to me upfront, I have to authorize Social Security to refund the employer the benefit that should be mine. And there is a section on the form for that. And the final section of the form has to be completed by the employer saying that this person named Ivona John Baptist Luge, Social Security number so, has been engaged with me from 1997 to current. And for the qualifying period, which is the 3 months prior to the month in which you fall sick, or if you are weekly paid, the 13 weeks prior to the week in which you fall sick, and if you are fortnightly paid for 7 fortnights prior to the fortnight in which you fall sick. It depends on the person's pay frequency. They have to provide information about how much salary or wage they would have paid to the employee, because that is going to determine the rate of the benefit for the period they're incapacitated. And it gives guidelines as to how to calculate the... Incidentally, we're responsible for paying 60% of the person's salary for the period that they're incapacitated, from the start date to the end date, for every day in that period, excluding Sundays. So the doctor will give a date from what date to what date. We look at the calendar and we say from that date to that date. It is 5 days, it is 6, it is 7, it is 10 days, but we don't include Sundays because we use an average of a 6-day week average for everybody. Although I work Monday to Friday, some people work Monday to Saturday, some people work Sunday to Sunday. Sunday to Sunday, like me. And we cannot necessarily change everything every time a person has a different working thing. But everybody has at least 1 day in the week that they get off. Most of us is Sundays, so we use an average 6-day week for everybody.
Let's come back to that though. That's important. Let's just see if this person wants to share. Hello.
Certainly.
Hello. Good morning. Okay, so I'm not getting this person, but what you were saying there is very, very interesting.
Yes.
Very interesting to note.
Yes.
And just kind of distracted there. We're getting this call on WhatsApp, but it's not going through.
Okay.
So the person would have to try again. Very interesting to note, though.
Yes.
And I mean, if somebody is not sure about something, it's just call Dominica's Social Security for further clarification.
Yes.
If you need instructions, if you need
guidance.
And
some of our officers would go to them and Do it for them. I tell them sometimes you need to show them how to do it because they cannot depend on you every time.
Yes.
At the end of the day, the obligation is theirs. They are the ones. Yeah. The law holds them as agents, and it's important for them to appreciate their role.
Yes.
So we can assist them, we can guide them, but they cannot depend on us to come and do it for them every time.
Every time. There's somebody in the line. Hello. Yes. Hello. Hello. Now the person, please listen to me as I speak with you, not to listen to your radio, whatever device. Listen to me on the telephone. Go ahead, please. Hello.
Good morning. I'm enjoying my corporate relaxation someplace in the USA. But if you can hear me, can you tell me why don't you use this, let's say, Social Security card with specific information on it to do with IDs as a revenue stream? So you save $30 every year. You pay for your Social Security card, and you have a special demarcation saying for identification purposes also. That can be a good revenue stream if you can hear me.
I'm hearing we're hearing you, sir. We're hearing you. But you see, Social Security is considered to be a good repository of a lot of statistical data. When we issue a card and our system haven't got different ways of differentiating that you have. If somebody is given a Social Security number, when we give a Social Security number, it means as a person that you expect to collect contributions from or for on behalf of the person that you issue a card to. Some people are suggesting, why don't we do like other jurisdictions and give people a Social Security number once they are born? This is not how it is for now. If it becomes like that, eventually it will change. But for now, because every card that we issue, every number we issue, inflates our statistics saying this year or this month, this week, so many people registered and got new cards, new numbers. So we're expecting this to indicate these are new people that we expect to get contributions from. And then invariably sometimes you don't get those contributions because the people really just the people just really wanted an ID card for them to do whatever they have to do. So if our system were able to differentiate, maybe have the ones that you generate a number for that are going to contribute and a different thing, but that is not how it is now. So until that changes, it is not possible for us to assign Social Security numbers, Social Security cards to persons who are not bona fide registered contributors who are making contributions, even though they don't make it consistently. But once you register, we expect to get contributions from you or on your behalf, at least for the period you register, saying you are now engaged in work for pay, and so we expect to get contributions. If that doesn't happen under the law, we can take you to court for furnishing us with false information. If you present yourself to us and claim that you are working with somebody and somebody signs your form as your employer saying that you are working with them, we ought to charge that person contributions on the earnings that they sign saying they're paying the person, at least for the month they say the person worked for them. And there have been instances when we've done that, and some places they want the people to get the Social Security card when they promise them employment and they tell us that they start working a particular time and they don't engage them from the time they say they engage them. And when we start charging them contributions, because you send a form saying the person is working for you from that date, getting that salary, when we started charging them contributions based on what they told us, the practice changed. So people have to understand and appreciate, yes, you have your ways of doing things, your reason why you want things in a particular way, but the system cannot bend its rules to accommodate every situation. And people need to find and appreciate that, because that Social Security thing is so far reaching that you cannot just do things willy-nilly. So we have our procedures, we have our policies as to what needs to happen for a person to get registered. We cannot bend that to accommodate every situation that comes because a person needs a card to do something. And people need to appreciate that, because of the reliance that people place on Social Security, we have to ensure that we maintain the integrity of the data that we have. Because a lot of international agencies, ILO, we have International Social Security Organization, World Bank, they rely on us for a lot of statistics, so we have to maintain the integrity of our data.
All right, so that is very, very important. Yeah. And of course, you can continue to call 1-800-327. You could call us on 448-3281, 448-3284. If you're calling from overseas, the number is 305-432-9744. for. Augustus Etienne, as far as it relates to information to the DSS, as it relates to changing in address, especially of an employer, how does that work out? Whose duty is it?
Well,
if there's a change in address?
Again, another obligation of the employer to inform us when those situations change. If they change address, if they cease to operate, rather than have us expecting contributions to come from you when you are not operating, it might be useful if you, when you're making your last payment before you become temporarily inactive or something, tell us that after this month, because I'm going on vacation, because I'm migrating, I will not be paying contributions for anybody after so. So we make a note on our system so we know we're not expecting contributions from you because you inform us. If you fail to inform us because you are a customer of paying, we're looking forward to you continuing to pay, and we might even hold you liable for paying contributions when you're not required to pay contributions because no activity is going on. So that is another obligation that we expect the employer to inform us of changes in their circumstances, changes in their address, changes in their ownership, and especially if they cease to operate for a while. They need to inform us of that, and they also need to cooperate with our field officers, those we call inspectors or compliance officers that go out to monitor, to do surveillance, to investigate cases and stuff like that. Under the law, they have the authority to just go and knock on your door and say, I notice you're operating a business there. We come and check to see if you have people working for you, how many people working for you, and to ensure that you're paying the contributions on their behalf. Because the employers need to appreciate too that by paying those contributions, they are protecting their employees against certain things that can happen to them. And if for nothing else, for no other reason, for the fact that the employees can get an injury right on their job. And if something happens to them on your job, you are responsible for protecting them. If they make those contributions on behalf of those employees, when those situations arise where they get an injury on the job, Social Security is going to replace 60% of this employee's salary for them for the period they're incapacitated. If the employer fails to make those payments, the employer may have to find money to support the person in that situation. And some accidents can be so grave that the employees may not be able to work again. And even if you want to, can you really afford to pay and support somebody who is not well, who can no longer contribute to your production and to, productivity for you? Can you afford to? Whereas if you make those contributions, Social Security would relieve you of that particular benefit,
So if he or she ceases to be an employer, they have to inform you. And if they even change address as well, right?
Yes,
if the business is
for purposes of contact, yes, they need to let us know. Yes.
You change your phone number, all of that is necessary.
Of that useful.
Right.
So if people make it a habit to just inform us of those changes, it will make our work easier. Where they don't, we may eventually discover that they've changed location. So, and our field officers sometimes can spot that too in their normal surveillance.
Yeah.
But it will make it easier for everybody if they just, as a routine matter of course, just inform the office that this is their situation now.
All right, yes. So don't keep it to yourself. The DSS is smart too. They can realize that something has gone amiss. They can, look at certain things and say, no, there's something that is wrong. Something is not working right.
Exactly.
And it's of course their duty. So you have to grant access, as you said, to Social Security inspectors.
Yes.
And the inspectors normally go out and
they do.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
Very, very interesting. So if you just follow the regulations, follow the guidelines, if there's something that is not going well from your end, inform the
bring
social
bring it to our attention.
Yes. So it doesn't
nothing is set in stone. The system is not even static because the system continues to evolve, and the system is making changes to make sure it remains relevant to persons here and now. So, but people also need to understand that we cannot necessarily bend to cater to their every situation, because we're serving everybody who is participating in the system, and there are guidelines, there are rules within which we operate.
Definitely.
And everything we do is directed by law. So sometimes some people question how you can say you're not doing this, that, and the other. There are some provisions in the law that say the director may determine how a particular thing is to be how to be handled, because although it may not spell it out in the law, the director has the discretion as to how a particular situation should be treated.
Definitely.
And so we may make administrative decisions that may not be spelled out in the law, but for purposes of ensuring the proper functioning of the law that we administer in, we may make certain administrative decisions.
Definitely. Wow. Very interesting discussion
people need to
this
just
morning.
understand and appreciate those
So
things.
there are a lot of things that the employers are obligated to and know about the obligations, know what your role is in all of this.
And we have a handbook of useful information for employers. When they register, we give them one of that to provide guidance to them and stuff like that. But we still available to them if they have difficulty to seek clarification, and we can provide guidance. They can call in at the office, an officer can visit them. Importantly, they can even have us come and speak to their workers, so their workers can understand and appreciate
that is
why
important.
they must register, why they must deduct and pay the contributions on their behalf. Well, and they mustn't fall prey. The employers mustn't fall prey to the temptation that some employees may say, I am not interested in that social security business, so don't deduct money from my money. They mustn't fall prey. Because they need to bear in mind that where they fail to make the deduction as required upfront, they then become personally liable for the full amount of the contributions. What they fail to deduct from these employees upfront plus what they have to pay from their own resources. And under the law, they ought not to, they cannot go back to the employee to recover what they should have deducted in the first place. So they must ensure that they start deducting from the word go and continue to deduct as long as the person is working and they paying the person.
Well said. Very interesting, very informative program today. Well, as usual, but in reference to what we really focused on a lot. Very, very, very interesting. Putting in points we raised there, and I have a feeling that we can revisit this another time.
Certainly.
Another time, of course. To keep updating the information to people who are
Indeed.
not.
Yes.
Of course, Social Security, it's a legacy of protection.
Yes.
That secures the future.
Yes.
So you always remember that.
Yes.
Augusta Titi, and I really enjoyed the discussion with you this morning. We'll do it again. Third Thursday in August, and if not, we make a change, and if we do another Thursday.
Certainly.
But we realize the importance of this.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and all the best to you.
Same to you.
That's
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, thank you, and let me say thank you as well to all those who called.
Thank you.
So we come to the end of the discussion with the Dominica Social Security.
Secure yourself, secure your family. Register with Social Security. Make sure your employers pay, 'cause some of them